I'll try. I want to try and do all the days, unless there's any objection, as much open to people, because we have people in the US that are interested to learn more, and so if I'm going to be teaching, it would be great to keep it as open as possible. So, hi everybody, thank you for joining. When I talk, two things. One, if you have questions, ask me while I talk. You can stop me at any time. Two, if you don't understand something, please ask for translation. If there's something that you're interested in, we have time. I can stop. We can focus on anything that is interesting for you, and if you want to learn more, understand better. Okay? Cool. Second, I'll give you a little bit simple agenda what I want to do today. So first I want to tell you a little bit of my story, how I got to this point, then a little bit more about Patch, and what are the goals, vision, what is this? It's a weird thing, what is it really? Then I hope to get a bit more to showing you Patch from the outside, if you didn't try it yet, to get you a bit more inspiration for the next days, what is possible to do. Because one of the most important things, and I will talk about this more when I show you different stages in the development of different projects, is that you need to know what you want. This is also important for life in general. If you don't know what you want, you don't know how to get there. So, as long as you know what you want to achieve, I will help you in any way you want, also beyond this workshop. I've been saying before that the workshop this week, you will get something, I hope, something nice, but it will take more time for you to get really something finished, and you can go very deep into it. Hopefully it would inspire you to get a VR headset and continue your journey. I want this to be a starting point to create a bridge that you guys can have open discussion with me, with our team. Whatever you want to achieve in Patch, we want to help you beyond this workshop. Okay? Cool. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Israel. As a kid, we had a piano in the house. I tried to go to learn piano and guitar, but the old Russian teacher, I didn't understand, why do I have to repeat the same thing? It's like, why can't I just play and it will sound good? Why do I have to practice and like think and like, ugh? So I gave up. I could not learn music. I remember even I tried, maybe I was 10-year-old. I had one friend that studied a bit of saxophone, one piano, one and guitar, and we tried to start a band, but we just got together and we tried to do something with the instruments. We thought it would just work, but it turned out it was a complete mess, of course, because none of us could play any of the instruments. So, very frustrated immediately, we're just like, okay, this is never gonna happen. Of course, coming into high school, meeting people, I found out, wow, there's electronic music, and you can use a computer, which I've been using for gaming all my life, to put sounds together. And that was a very cool first audio workstation, which was the Tracker. Whoever knows, these like free software that you download, it's just text-based. You put any sample you want into it, and you just rearrange the samples. And I got hooked immediately. I started making music every day. All my time went into music instantly. So just an enabling tool helped me find my calling. But I still loved to work with people that could play instruments. Why? In retrospect, I understood that for me to, with a computer, to take an idea into a melody or a beat, it required a lot of a combination of right and left brain. I needed, it's like composing. I had to put things in line. I had to think, maybe it goes here, this note goes here, this note goes there. While my bass player friend, he could just have a do. It was more like speaking versus writing. So this idea of I have music in my head, I have something in my head. Maybe it's not even in my head. I'm just a channel, and I could just like create it instantly. Became something that I became very jealous, and the computer music did not give me access to this. So, what did I do? Did I go to learn the bass or the piano? No, I used my inability with my ability with a little bit in computers to try and solve my personal problem. And the first way I did this was, so I moved to Berlin from Israel in 2009. I became obsessed with the idea I became obsessed with swing music. In Israel, we had lots of rave, drum and bass, hip hop, a lot of like underground, old school rave stuff. But I became obsessed with energy of swing music and the improvisation of jazz. So I moved to Berlin in 2009 to start a band called Dirty Honkers, and this is and that's where I joined team with 2 saxophone players, and I started to think, okay, how can I use controllers to control the computer? So one of the first controllers that I kind of designed myself was a joystick that I took apart, changed the brains, soldered some extra button, and this is an example from that. Very old school digital video. I can skip ahead a little bit. Here's the joystick. I'll show you just another quick. So that was basically modulating and beat repeating the playback, but I also found quite nice way to use arpeggiators with a joystick. With actually it had 1, 2, 3 axes plus buttons in both hands plus dials. So I like suddenly had like, instead of, because before that I had like controllers, so you had piano keys and you had dials and sliders. And you can only control 2 things kind of at the same time, maybe 3 if you use your little pinky here, but it's very hard to control things when you have. So here I had actually 4 axes of expression plus buttons. So besides modulating the playback, I can show you like a solo battle. So everything was on the beat, in the key. I just could control the speed, the pitch, the intonation, the color of the sound. I could just jam finally and improvise like a jazz musician. So I spent my time in this band. Like we still work together occasionally, but basically perfecting a selection of tools, some Max for Live plugins, and got into Max a little bit. I'm not a developer, but I try to solve problems. As you saw, the joystick has the 4 axes of expression, but then I was like, okay, what about this thing that I have in my pocket? What do I got here? I got actually multiple fingers. So each one has X and Y. I have 4 fingers on the screen, and I have actually accelerometers. Oof, a lot of expression. So I did like a very quick prototype, and I suddenly was like a bit hypnotized. I was like, whoa. Taking similar concepts from the joystick, suddenly it felt like I kind of lost focus. I was kind of finally felt like I was in the music, and that got me into the idea of, okay, maybe I can make a product. At the same time, by the way, is this interesting? Yeah? Okay, cool. If you have questions, again, please don't be shy if you want to ask. At the same time, I started to work with an art group because I found, okay, wait a second, I solved this problem for me to make music available for anyone instantly that never played music before. That's what I discovered. Now, how can I give this to other people? So I started with some friends in Berlin, a crew called Polyjam, which the idea was to create parties where the audience is the creator. So they come to a party, instead of consuming the music, just like techno, yes, DJ, just receiving, they are contributing to the art and the music and everything together. So we created a few with this. We have a sculpture friend, painter, dancers, and we created these events and created statues that actually send MIDI to the computer, and using all of the fancy techniques that I developed, gave people the ability to do things together. Wait, this is a trailer. Wait, we had this whole very kind of, here's like a touch screen. It's based on light. So behind it is an infrared camera, and this is just a canvas with glass, transparent plastic, and it can see behind your handprints. The camera is behind, like 1.5 meters behind, looking behind. So from the other side, it just sees blobs of your. We had this statue that has teeth and a joystick for a nose, and you could change it and it would create different patterns. So we really hoped to create a revolution in like interactive parties. I still think it's a great idea. Problem is, clubs would not really want us to take over their whole club and like change everything and like create a bunch of installations in a club. They prefer just to have a DJ, it's much cheaper for that. So I was like, how can I bring this to more and more people? And the more I thought about it, the more I got inspired that I thought how actually music is very overlooked superpower. If you think about it, in maybe all the religions in the world, they are just excuses for people to come and sing together or to move together. Maybe the football field is a place where people can go to sing, not to watch the football. I'm exaggerating, but my point is that if you look at human society, in every culture on earth, in every religion, in every gathering, from if it's a political protest, to if it's like in a church, to if it's in a tribe in the Amazon, there is some form of or it's techno club in Berlin. There is some form of people coming together and either moving together, singing together, clapping together, drumming together, having some sort of community musical experience that is what I believe gives them a feeling of community. And actually there is science behind it. So when you sing together, move together in synchronization, actually your neurons in your brain, your synapses fire in synchronization. So it could be, maybe, that music can actually has a potential to unite societies and create a feeling of oneness, let's say. Okay, so I thought, okay, I wanted to do it with parties. It was very challenging. Maybe I can do it with a startup, with a product that anybody can have a phone. Everybody has a phone in your pocket. Why not just give it to people? So I dived into the startup world, and with this, what you saw, kind of same principle of the touch screen that you saw, I created this app. And again, I had a problem. I didn't know how to build an app. I started to talk to people in all stages of this journey. You have something that you want to do. You start talking to people about it, and they will help you. A guy just said, okay, I love it. I did what I could with what I had. I used Ableton. I used some small software to send information to Ableton. I learned, I Googled about Max for Life. I bothered people that are Max experts. How do I do this? How do I do that? And people are very happy to help. And also that's what I said before. I want to be that also for you. If you choose to go into Patch, we are really happy to be an open door for you guys. So I'll just show you quickly. This is the Jamble app that we developed. It started just me and a junior developer that worked for 1 year for free. And then we got some funding. And it works. You can download it. It's a free app also for Android. Although we do have a subscription, so be careful not to buy it. If you want free code, I can give you guys. But we have high notes, low, fast, slow, and there's a looper. So,
what's the name of the app?
called Jamble.
It's like your new German-based thing, the X and Y, no?
It's I actually Patch is great, and I will get there. That is it's a great tool for making Jamble actually. And well, see, I have a lot of ads also. So I was not from the business world. Did not know how to do a startup. I just talked to people, got invited. Got accepted to an accelerator. It was a very exciting day. Started to learn all of this stuff, and then I had to start bringing some investment, and I didn't know how to do it. So I thought, okay, what is the thing that I'm good at? And I had a lot of experience with rapping, and I had a music app. So I created, I recorded this in Berlin in some. Place not so far.
Phone jammer, rap, bitch, and product demo all at the same time. Here we go. Check the lyrics.
Much better.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a man on a mission to teach each one of you to be a musician. With this app, anyone can make a fat beat and jam with friends at home or on the street. Yo, it's the funky app we call Party Jammer. A new music language you don't need to know grammar. It's so intuitive you can jam with your grandma. So let me show you how it works. You swipe up to play high. You swipe down to play.
So I did the whole product pitch for investors while using the app and rapping the whole thing. So that became a bit of a hit in the startup scene. and we got some really good contacts from it. Eventually, we didn't raise money from any of them. We got some money later from a publisher, and I can go into, if you're interested in this whole story, happy to talk to you about startup and company stuff. Maybe we'll get into that, but I just wanted to show you was my first footstep into product, and I was like, wow, okay, making products is a lot of fun. Suddenly it became less interesting for me to sit down on a computer, write music and produce, but actually I want to build the tools for other people to make music and make it more accessible for everyone. So, yes.
Is Hugo is working with me, and he will shoot, take photo and video
Perfect.
all of the week to make a movie, a video after the workshop.
Perfect.
Thanks.
So, I did this for a few years. We had our ups and downs, and while I actually was closing an investment with this, or along the journey going to events and conventions, I met a Mexican jock about this big, strong guy that had this crazy project that actually my co-founder told me, hey, there's a guy doing like music VR things, you should go and check it out. I was like, okay, I'll go there, let's see. I looked at it, it sounded and looked completely crazy. I was like, no, it's never gonna work, this thing is too crazy. But then, like maybe 1 or 2 years after, I met him again in another convention, he let me try it. And I was like, okay, wow. And suddenly, in that moment when I first tried it, I realized all of my like last 10 years of music production and instruments, thinking about how to make instruments, I tried to put it into this little square. And suddenly I saw this guy, he has a set of tools that I can now have infinite space. So from a process of reduction, what is the bare minimum that I could squeeze here that would just give you instant music fun? Now I have like infinite space, and infinite possibilities. Okay, wow. So he said like, he saw what I was doing, I saw a bit more what he was doing, he said, okay, let's meet up. He came by a few months later, he followed me on his word. He was as obsessed as I was, from a completely different perspective. He came to Berlin to stay a week with me, and he just showed me things, and he was perfect. He was just like, exactly like I wanted to do to you. He was like, okay, what do you want to do? And I was like, yeah, I want to do this, put pads, put things like this. And he just built everything. So I was kind of navigating because I didn't know the tool yet, and he was building. Soon we'll get into the tools, don't worry. And we came up with these 3 prototypes. Then he was like, wow, this is the first time that it doesn't sound like computer music. So not just like noise or abstract synthesis, complex synthesis. This is something playful that actually is fun to use for normal people. And so he was impressed, I was impressed. He only took maybe 3 years for him to get things rolling. Eventually he met his co-founder, Melody, which is an artist that also a VR artist that created the virtual interactive worlds, more from the visual side. And a little bit about Eduardo, the founder of Patchwork, that he is a bit similar to my story, but he is a visual artist, an animator, that was tired of making visuals. He wanted to understand music. So he actually approached music from a completely visual arts perspective. So, when we start to talk about Patch, you will understand a bit of that logic, because how we like to express what Patch is the audio-driven development. So audio is what drives the animation, the interaction, everything. We will get into that. But so yeah, I met him then. We had this 1 week workshop like we're gonna have with you guys, just the 2 of us. And then 2 years ago almost. He said, okay, I have everything in place. We got a contract from Meta. They want us to release the product on their store. Do you want to jump in? So I jumped in, and now I'm a co-founder with Melody and Eduardo, and I am responsible for I'm the product owner and head of content. So I create the content for the product, and I help to get all the developers in line and prioritize what needs to happen for the product. Any questions so far?
You
Yes.
mentioned the three worlds, so the three ones that are on the app now, the Fluid Echo, the
Yeah, bouncy bits, and so it wasn't my concept, but I came in when they had some of the elements and kind of arranged it into place, and a lot of other content I helped to produce, create. I don't know if you tried it already, but I do all the voice acting in the app. So
Can you make the funny
I
one?
will make it.
Yes, of course. But first you have to try it.
So that's how I got here. And what's next? Are you guys scared of AI? Yes.
Maybe a question that just before we go deep into VR
Yeah.
and like more modern stuff, because when you are talking about your app, I just remember Smule, you know, that make bunch of apps that was really impressive. I think the guy come from Stanford.
Yeah.
Do you
I think
know?
Media Lab, they're also a
Yeah.
Media Lab.
That make like phone orchestras, you know, things, ocarina stuff. Oh, it was inspiring for you. Did
Yeah.
you connect to this community because it was exactly at the same time?
That's
with
true.
your platform?
I tried. I think, well, we got very close to be in Techstars Music in California. We were top 25, but in the end, we went there. We spent the last money that we have on this bet, and I fucked up the pitch. It was not a good pitch,
Okay.
and these things happen. So it was like, and then we had to wait, we had to struggle. In the end, we got probably a pretty nice deal. But it was inspiring to me. Snule, what did they do? They did the magic piano. They had the ocarina. You're right.
I think a kind of violin
Yes.
thing that you can play this.
But actually, then they got into karaoke. And for
Yeah.
me, I think that what I saw in the industry of music apps, if you're interested, I could talk about it as well. So, what I saw is success stories are Guitar Hero type things,
Yeah.
where you just follow the instructions. And on the other side is the niche of music apps that are, so this is very easy to use, but non-creative, because maybe you feel like you're creative, but actually you feel like you're game. It feels like an action game more than I'm creating something new. And maybe you put in the position of like you feel a bit like a rocker, but in the end it's an action game. It's not a creative act. And on the other side of the spectrum, you have music apps that also became very popular in that time for musicians, and there was a big community there where people would. So this is freemium model. Just have a free app with ads and a subscription. And here you have just an app that costs like $5, $10, $20, but it gives you a lot of depth, and it's a real professional for professional musicians that are iOS musicians. Very small niche. You can sustain maybe one developer half-time with that if you're really good. And usually the interfaces are very clunky. It's very hard. I would never enjoy like being like this.
Yeah. Making music with Game Boy.
Yeah. So it's clunky, and you have to connect things to other things. So it's for kind of fanatics of that. I tried to do something that is an instant beat maker for people. Actually, before it was Jambo, it was Polygrammer, And I tried to, the first concept was, it's the first time Ableton Link came on the scene. And I was like, okay, let's make an iOS app that's just about jamming together. And actually, you still have that feature, and that's probably the app is kind of best built for that. The first prototypes were just, I just had cheap phones around, and I gave to people, and it was a black screen, and it was just sending coordinates to Ableton. And that was amazing, because it just boom, 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 it just feels like magic. So, but I started to give it to people, and people loved it, but I saw that most people don't get together, connect on the same Wi-Fi, and you probably need a speaker for it to sound good. Like the technology is not really good user flow to sync up with other people. VR, huge potential. I'll talk about that more later. Another part of the reason why I'm became obsessed with Patchwork, because imagine with Jambo we have to now all download the app, get on the same Wi-Fi. Now if we just play with the phone speakers, it sounds like shit. Then either we all go to a mixer, we need a mixer, we need a PA, or we each have a little speaker. If you use a Bluetooth speaker, there's delay. Each Bluetooth has a different delay. Okay, in VR, we just go in multiplayer, and you have a sense of presence with other people in virtual environment. And you have whatever instrument you can imagine. You can build a banana phone. That is like, you can do whatever you want. So, very exciting. It goes back to the interactive parties, right? Vision. Now you can have interactive parties. I can make my own venue. I can have infinite number of venues. And it can be completely interactive. And I don't have to spend a month building a statue. I can spend half an hour and build a mountain. And you play on mountains. So it's exciting. Of course, it's disappointing also to see a bit of the VR industry sometimes it relies too much on simulating what is already there. So a lot of people actually want a piano. They don't want a banana phone. I don't know why. Where was I? About this scene. So I wanted it to start as a jam experience. I saw that it doesn't work, and I saw something else. I saw that in order to make music creating mainstream, you cannot start people just jump into make music and make it together with other people live in the moment and look them in the eye. Whoa, wait a second. I don't know anything about music. So I started to see the fear that people have about music as like, oh, I'm not creative. I can't do it. I tried, and my teacher told me that I sucked, and I saw this trauma. So I was like, okay, maybe the first step is to actually just get over the trauma and just make something. This is plain. This is just like touch and make music. Don't worry about it. Hence the jamble. You just go and jamble it up. You don't have to. It doesn't matter that you don't know what you're doing. You just have to fun and move your finger around and kind of. So it's not a game that you have scores. Although we do have kind of a mini game. It's not so great necessarily. But it is a game, and I see the new generation, how they talk about a music app that is fun and easy, not like that other category that is like a lot of parameters and things. If it's simple enough, and it makes music, even if there's no scoring or nothing that tells you what to do, for them it's a game. Totally. That answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got two questions. First one, what's the Patchwork's future of all this stuff? What's the level up?
Can you say it again, please? Sorry.
Oh yes. What's the Patchwork's future after all this stuff? What's the level up?
Okay. Well, first you need to understand maybe what patch is. And then I can explain what is the future. But I can start from the end and saying that our Patchwork has, I think the core vision is to empower a new golden age of creativity that we see with these virtual environments. We want to make the most accessible as possible this new form of creativity, which combines music, visuals, and movement. So these are the three elements that we combine. So and think about this: when you're a child and you have an idea in your head, that's what I started from. You have something in your head, you want to get it out. The distance between what you have in your head, if it's a sun, and you draw a sun, even if it's like, you draw like a doodle, in your head, the distance is very close. The more you grow up, suddenly, the sun, it doesn't really look like that. Okay, it's a circle. Now you want a face. Okay, when you're a kid, you didn't, that's a face, sure. But when you grow up, suddenly there is a split of what you have in your head and what you execute. Your ability to execute becomes separated. Now, those that are obsessed and are not traumatized and want to, then they're gonna work to match their execution closer to what they have in their head. But most people is just gonna go like this, farther and farther, because they can imagine more and more sophisticated things, and they don't train their ability. It's the same with music, it's the same with art. What we are trying to do actually is to make this. We want to give you the ability to create whatever you imagine, but not just to draw, but to, it can be really an experience, create experiences. That's kind of the vision, and do it together. Yes.
You made a distinction between action games and creative endeavors, such as action games. I'm thinking of there are some tools that use real instruments, such as the guitar or the piano. And so I was thinking, is there for you any way or any point to integrate maybe this as a new way to control VR, such as, because I'm thinking a musician is used to his instruments, and so it's a new perspective on handling it may be a new way to handle the thing and kind of bridge the gap between real physical stuff and the creativity that is offered by VR. And so
Absolutely. You play guitar?
yes.
Okay, cool. So, first of all, there's a few ways that you can connect patch, the virtual world, into the real world. Simply, the two simple, one is the microphone of the headset. You can already detect the pitch and the volume. Already. Pretty cool. Second, we have OSC, input and output. So you can control, you can route, and we have a set of tools that make it a bit easier. And we have a Max for Live patch that is free, that you can route from Ableton to Ableton from patch and create a bridge. So you can use extra pedals or MIDI controllers to control patch, and use patch as a controller for your instruments. So if you have one controller in your hand, or you pick it up, or even the movement of your body, because you're gonna see that we have what I told you before. We have audio, visuals, movement. So even just the position of your body, you can stand here and you have a totally different effects chain. You just go here, and if you move your head like this, it modulates. You can do all this stuff. Which is a really cool project, by the way. Could be nice direction. The other thing, obviously, is that you have mixed reality. So you can see your surroundings and build on top of your surroundings. You can put virtual instruments all around you, and just like touch them, boom, activate different things. I will show you all of this. And the other cool thing is, yeah, that you can play with other people also in real life because you can see each other. And of course, yeah, you can use the microphone or like to affect different things about the world, like the pitch could control the background color or lights and different things.
There's a physical modeling of a guitar too, no?
There's a string. I think it could use some work, but I would recommend use if you could play guitar.
I think that was from guitar, as I said.
But we do have a guitar that you can program the strings to shorten automatically, so you don't have to play the chords. You can play. I will show you if you want. If you just. Anybody else? Please.
Sorry, I don't want to.
Thanks for the questions.
You have questions? Okay, maybe to open up because I plan maybe to go deeper into patchwork.
Yes. He has a question.
There's a question.
Yeah.
So, your art genre is a kind of beatbox. So,
It's a beat making.
beatmaking, okay.
Yeah, beat making.
So, but if I want to do some music lesson, I can't do that with this app. So, my question is, can you mix? Okay, do you have a sort of limit between creativity and accessibility or simplicity of use?
It's a really cool question. So you're asking, if I understand correctly, that if you need ease of use, you add limitation. So I cannot create free jazz or classical compositions with something like Django. It is limited to a certain aesthetic or a certain genre that it's best at. I would say, in general, yes. I think that I could imagine like that accessibility requires simplification. I think also accessibility of music requires simplification. So also if you use the most advanced tools and you want to have your music accessible for people to listen, for most people to enjoy, that requires also simplification, which might not be right for everyone. Of course, if you're like a modern classical composer or like the new epic twin, that you don't want simplification. And actually, that is interestingly part also of my story, because I started with making breakcore, and I like pop, I like some pop, I like hip hop, I like a lot of things, but as a producer, I don't like simplification. I like I like to complicate. I like to have 10 different parts. It's more fun to create, but then for other people to listen, it's less fun. In most cases, you're gonna have a smaller audience, but you need to know that, and probably you should know that. If your ambition is to be a successful musician, simplification is a very important part for you to know. You can start with like, there's like I admire this musician, this young guy that does like multi-instrumentalist, Jacob Collier. He said this, like when he was starting, the teachers told him, he was drumming in a school band, and the teachers told him, don't overdo it. What do you mean don't overdo it? He wants to go crazy. So that's part of your process. You should go crazy. But then at some point, when you're like more mature, you can reduce after you went crazy. So you cannot start from, if you start from just doing, okay, you need to have the full range. And then only one, the ones that are that do the maximum, they will know how to do the minimum in the right way and not just be boring. If that makes sense.
It would be nice to have the feedback of Jonathan.
Yes.
Jonathan is coming from this enormous big school of music and composition in France.
Yeah, I would love to hear your opinion.
It just came from the classical, modern, that you can have harmony and nothing, no. I don't know, but
Yeah,
in composition, and then he's a big fan to patchwork and come to this thinking of maybe of simplification. I don't know, but as a composer, that come from this more intellectual way of thinking composition.
You have
How
something
can
for
you
that?
have feedback for this simplification?
Well, I agree on what he just said. In French, we say qui peut plus peut le moins. Well, if you can do the mode, then you can simplify and reduce, and definitely. And I don't know when he talked about what's your name? Joris. When Joris talked about classical or whatever, I was like, yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to do, and I like to do that with patch. Basically, do some John Cage or whatever, or Morton Feldman, that's my motto, but that kind of, I think you can do pretty much any style. It's not style, even the three words you have, they all have a different style, which I find fun. One is like reggae, the other one is like drum and bass, the third one is EDM, so yeah.
But is there some tools before to discover patch in your composer life now that where you plan to be used by mass that is simple, like Max should be simple, in fact it's not.
Also interesting about also patching tools, like software for development software. I started with Max, and then when I switched to, I did a bit of on Pure Data, I saw that there is a simplification in Pure Data that actually makes it easier because there's not as many blocks, not as many objects, so you learn a smaller set of vocabulary that you can still do everything with. So, but about what you're saying about patch, that it is very much opposite of Jambo. It has the same soul, same goal to empower people, especially to connect around music with multiplayer that we're going to talk about here. But patch is the opposite in the way that it's everything is possible, more or less. And Jambo is a game of limitation and finding your creativity with the limitation. But we have some pretty cool artists on Jambo too. So just to give you a bit of, if I can show off a little bit, we have a community here that is playing some pretty good music. Of course, a lot of trap, EDM. Like sometimes there are things that I'm like, what? They did this and with this app. That's very surprising to me, for example. They have this huge, big transition. So yeah. Any more questions? Okay. Okay. I'm questioning. I have a question. Should we? I want to get to know you a little bit more. Also, what's your background? And I want to show you. Start getting into patch and showing you some concepts. And I think the good main goal is that tomorrow you already come with an idea and the team that you're in, and that you know pretty much what you want to explore, what you want to achieve, so I can and I need to know what everybody's kind of like goal is, and then I can see, oh, okay, there's a few themes that I can teach a few people together, and then we can start working with the app, and then when there's a question, we can take 10 minutes, I show, and then go back to work. So today is just about giving you guys the inspiration and showing you what's possible. Yes.
If I want to, if I don't have some rhythm base, and I don't want to use loop to create music, can sorry, I don't have the.
You can, in French maybe you can translate.
Est-ce que, donc, du coup, si je fais des boucles, est-ce que je peux, enfin sans faire de boucle, est-ce que je peux quand même avoir quelque chose qui sonne bien, alors que je n'ai pas forcément de base rythmique? si j'ai pas le sens du rythme.
He's wondering basically if it's not quantized, basically that's where it comes down to.
You can quantize, you cannot quantize, you can do. I don't think there's anything you can ask me that I would say you can't do it.
So I can't quantize without loop.
You can loop. You can have a quantized loop, you can have an unquantized loop, you can have the nodes inside the loop quantized, but the loop not quantized. You can have the nodes inside not quantized and the loop irregular. It's very open format.
It's like a modular synthesis. It's like you can have a sequencer that just trigger nodes.
If I want to have my sound now, but I don't have
Just really playing some.
yes, if I use the app and I tap with my finger on, and we don't use loop, this can't be rhythmic.
There is a problem with VR for live performance that is sometimes you need an area to hit, and because you're in VR, you're not hitting anything. It's hard to play accurately without quantize. So you can remove all quantize. It's just gonna be hard to play at the expectation of hitting something is not there. But I don't have that good rhythm also, so it could be that you can do it, or you can do other tricks. Yeah. So, yeah. We want to have ability to use a surface as a pad, but we don't have that yet.
And also maybe, I don't know, because everything that comes from the game industry or the game world is no pro audio available, not ready. It just as you have always such big latency in regard to what you expect in an audio app. So even you want to have gestures that are really precise in the air, you don't have like 5 milliseconds latency that is enough. I don't know. Maybe
I don't think we have.
another.
I don't think we have any latency, noticeable latency.
No.
For with OSC, yes.
Okay.
You have, I think, maybe 7 to 10 milliseconds should be with OSC.
But with yes, you manage with your control to have like an immediate feedback when you. Okay.
I never noticed, and I'm usually pretty noticed.
You must.
It's the problem is more that in VR it's hard to you're passing through things. You don't have a stop, and that makes it harder to repeat things. So if I just want to aim and I get it, now I'm fine. But if I want to it's like this. It kind of it's hard to explain, but you'll experience it. Should we take a break? 5-minute break?
Just
Yes.
one question, because can you use like vibration feedback? Maybe
Yes,
to
yes,
make
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can also program your own vibration.
And so you can have sorry.
I have one
Yes,
question
go ahead.
for the break, because we come down to that latency thing, and with the band we're already like thinking when it's about being on the same beat all together, and two things that
Multiplayer is a different game.
Yeah.
Multiplayer there is
Because the audio is late, and also Android is not powerful as a iOS. Or
Yes. Well, I mean, I think for like, you know what, maybe there is a latency, but that's part of the issue. But for multiplayer, there's definitely a latency that you cannot.
But the control is fast, but the voice comes like
Yes,
down later.
that's true. So, but there's ways to go around it to have an experience, but we're still gonna have to explore what is the best way to. You cannot really play funk music without quantization in background. If you can play
Classical music.
like a waltz, maybe you can play a waltz, a slow waltz.
This is what this app where which you can have like a jam on the web natural like one bar of flat C, and you can improvise with like slow evolving music, you know, like progressive music
Exactly.
or minimalist music.
Or electronic music if you're like more like tweaking. If you have machines that are running and you're changing sequences, and you're a few people, you've got a few machines. I will show you this. Wow, good timing for the.
Yeah, for break.
We
Thank
take
you.
a break?
Yeah.
I think it's time.
Okay, perfect. So, 10 minutes, something like this?
Yeah. Can I have
Actually,
go for
find
it.
one snack. Yeah, don't.
Il y a une machine à café. You can take coffee here.
Et peut-être pour demain,
Alors voilà.
cette machine à café, c'est celle de Zinc. Donc,
D'aujourd'hui.
ils se sont sacrifiés pour vous. Donc, ils n'ont plus de café pour aujourd'hui.
Voilà, ils sont en train de mourir là-bas.
Mais si vous vous souvenez bien, les M2 ont gagné une machine à café en 500 euros.
If you want to. Yes.
Voilà.
I want to connect
Donc voilà pour demain.
I want to connect,
Amenez-en une pour,
mini jack
Yeah,
to the sound system from here.
the sound system. Okay. Maybe I have to. Yes,
Yeah.
I have to ombre. Okay,
You can put your laptop or take first the t-shirt to
Ça va, c'est un peu rapide. On voulait pas avoir une petite machine express
Non mais pas aujourd'hui, hein.
J'avoue, des gros, c'est un truc qu'on est là, c'est juste du coup, et si jamais il y a ça peut être
Voilà, c'est ça. Les grimaces, quoi. Mais oui.
Let's have a break.
No, no,
You can have this more. I did not really well understand because of my English. While you were talking about Snow, you tell me that you was a candidate to be produced by Snow. I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
the singers in the US,
Yeah.
we try to reach out to them, but no success.
Just to make
Try.
collaboration.
I try to find a home. I mean, they're like an app publisher.
Okay.
So in the app world, the games specifically, there's like studios with the games, there's publishers that know how to run ads. It's a very different skill set. They need to work together well to have a good product. And we didn't understand it quite well at the time. I wanted to compete with Snow. At the time, I didn't think so much that to try and like very aggressively target them to absorb us. I thought I could do it on my own, raise money, get a team,
Yeah.
do the whole thing. But eventually, after years of trying to raise money and like scraping by, somehow, then we found another publisher, eSmart, which is where we are still now. That are kind of competitors.
I think that one with small, it's the karaoke app, isn't it?
Yeah, Smooth is karaoke. That's their biggest product, and it goes back. I kind of missed the point, but it kind of goes back to the.
Alors, il veut connecter.
It's not really. They don't have beat making.
Okay.
It's more
Ça
guitar.
Alors, on va
Mais au
regarder
son,
si ça marche.
Very easy. Karaoke. Give people a feeling. I don't like their brand so much. The first things that they did with Ocarina was kind of cool.
Converse. Maybe?
No. I need a mini jack.
No, because
Okay,
I have one
our
otherwise.
sound.
You have a mini jack?
USB?
Non, mais
Our
No,
sound is
just mini
USB.
jack.
just mini
Yeah.
jack.
No, I just
Because this, I cannot give the sound of the headset
Only the
through the
sound.
computer. Just the sound. The rest I
Oh, you
have.
need a jack to jack.
Jack to whatever this
No,
takes.
no,
Jack to jack or jack to double jack.
C'est pour rentrer dans la carte son, ouais.
Mini jack to two
Gros jack.
jacks.
Alors là.
Yes.
Or mini jack to one jack.
Yeah, maybe
wow.
we have a... Ou alors c'est un adaptateur.
Que là-dedans, t'as quoi
No
derrière
idea if we have that.
Should I have a look here?
You can open here.
Moi j'ai amené des choses sinon.
Presque sûr qu'on a un mini jack. Mini jack, je suis presque sûr.
En fait c'est mini jack RCA, tu vois. Tu sais, c'est des trucs classiques de chaîne de
Like mini jack to XLR also.
Alors là, vous me parlez
Le
de
seul
quoi?
truc, par contre, c'est qu'il faut rentrer en.
XLR ou...
C'est con, j'ai ça à la maison, mais pas là. Non, mais ça, c'est.
Moi je l'avais à la maison aussi.
Ouais, moi j'en ai un aussi chez
Tu
moi.
dois vous manquer un adaptateur. C'est important, je pense.
Mais si on a un mini jack RCA, il me semble qu'on en a un, mais
Sinon, on peut rentrer en. We can plug in mono. Is
Mono is fine. Yeah.
you can like mini jack with the headphone adapter.
Yes,
And
that would
like
work.
parmi deux combos.
Yeah.
ou alors ça, voilà, ouais.
T'as juste un mini jack.
C'est un mini jack déjà.
Ce sera ça, mais ça va marcher.
Peut-être, je pense
No,
peut-être
there is
plus là-bas,
another option,
moi,
but I
non?
prefer this if it's possible.
Je me dis peut-être plus là-bas, tu sais, au bureau là-bas.
Like casting.
Peut-être, parce que moi ici,
Casting both video and audio.
Ah, mais quand tu fais
Non, mais ne passe pas, D'ailleurs, je passe.
Screen copy doesn't give me sound. So if I use screen copy, I want the cable. Or I cast wirelessly, then there's a delay. And it's like, no, if I do it with the cable, there's no delay. Yeah.
On va trouver Ah, j'en ai un.
Hey Jack. Check. Ah.
The USB actually doesn't give you the audio. The USB thing. Yeah.
Ça, on va essayer ça. De toute façon, on a besoin de faire un petit break.
Moi je vais chercher là-bas, pendant que tu cherches là.
je sais pas ce que j'ai fait de ma grosse boîte de câbles. En fait, c'est en train de me
Tu l'as
rendre.
trop bien rangé.
Bah,
Là il y a du câble, là non, c'est pas ça?
c'est des claviers, ça.
Ton clavier. Bon, moi je vais regarder là-bas, mini jack
Ouais.
et avec un adaptateur.
Parce que ici, ouais, je sais pas à quel point on a. Ah là,
Et là-bas.
ils sont là mes câbles. Hold on. Might have something.
Ah, mais j'ai ça, regarde, j'en ai un.
Attends, parce que je viens de retrouver mes câbles.
Parce que si t'as sinon un. Tu vois ce truc de chimifié du coup Mini jack vers un truc blanc et rouge là, tu vois. Je vais te le dire.
Mais il y a des choses là-dedans. Là, il y a des choses.
Et voilà, mais c'est ça. C'est vraiment rouge.
Là, il y a des choses.
Voilà, bravo, regarde. Et bah, mini jack, c'est ça. Super. Et ça, tu vois, c'est ça. Ah. Et ben voilà.
Ça fait.
Et hop, ce sera en mono. Ah bah j'ai déjà ça moi, dans mes affaires.
Ok.
Ça doit faire le boulot.
Il faut prévenir ce qu'on a alors.
fouiller. Déjà, on va regarder ça pour pas qu'on mette le réseau.
Moi, je n'y connais pas tellement pas en son.
Oui, de toute façon, là, c'est juste un truc très particulier. Normalement, on a amené tout ce dont on a besoin.
Ok,
Tu peux te ranger ça quelque part
Tu peux le mettre sur l'imprimante.
Et ok.
Et moi, je me chargerai de mettre les câbles de son ailleurs que dans une grosse boîte.
Qui mélange l'USB. C'est vrai que ça peut être pratique,
Voilà.
effectivement.
Mais c'est juste que ouais, c'est tellement pas du tout ma spécialité que.
Tu peux pas tout faire. à un moment donné.
Voilà.
c'est...
Tout sauf le son.
Très bien, c'est bien noté. Normalement, c'est bien.
C'est aussi pour ça que je suis pas là ce soir.
Sinon, merci.
Oh, here's another one.
Ouais.
On va faire un truc full crawl, qui nous fait plaisir. On va forcément techniquer, comme du service pour le truc bien.
Je pensais que tu parlais du projet musical là, que tu voulais qu'on fasse ensemble.
Ah oui.
On peut mixer électro, c'est.
Bah, ça c'était déjà full crawl. Hein.
Un petit peu.
J'ai pas mal d'idées, donc si jamais quelque chose à faire de la musique techno, j'ai plein d'idées de des sons, des voix. J'ai envie de faire un web the cut.
Ouais.
Web the cut techno.
C'est marrant, on va dire. Bien compris. Non, tu veux pas un café?
Pas de suite, peut-être dans l'après-midi.
Mais dans une carte,
looks like. You have another one? Okay. I have something.
Yeah,
We'll
I
try
have
it.
this, but I think it's an old cable length.
Okay. I think I will manage. Just I need a few more minutes here.
Maybe we can have this for tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good. Okay, that's fine. Hello, hey. Hey. How you doing? There was this Victor was working on this fix for the ghosts. Did you review it? Does it look safe to you from multiplayer perspective? Okay. Yeah, that was Boris. He was Boris was acting without supervision. He just merged it without review. I don't know why. I told him, and I want to revert it. But what do you think? But do you think it will affect the stability of multiplayer? Because it sounds like it's related to the one that you play. Can you? Can you test with this merge multiplayer, at least you know this issue we had with the toggles that the state is synced. Maybe you can test it. Okay, what else are you working on today? Okay. Yeah, I saw that he made a build that for testing that is an updated Unity version. So question, does this mean if it is indeed the problem, does that mean that we need to update Unity and again, like what we did last time? They did correctly? Okay, so this means maybe we need more QA time. Possibly. Although it's not a big jump, right? It's like it's just the next update. Is that the latest? Unity version? Yeah, okay, that's what I want. So, in your opinion, is this, I don't know, just your intuition, do you think we need a lot more QA if we do change the Unity version? You think this could have a lot more bugs if we update, or might not be too bad because it's not too far? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. So maybe we should just do it if you think that it could solve some stability. Just theory. But do you confirm, looking at it yourself, does it seem like he's correct, or you don't know?
It looks like possible solution because
Okay.
it is a problem that we still don't know because it happens inside the Unity. We don't have access to this code, and so it's hard to say what exactly was.
Okay, cool. Fine, thanks for the update. When Boris and Victor come in later, I will coordinate with them. But this means if we do update, so what do you think should be the process now? He made this build that is the updated version. Should we QA that build and then decide if to make the update? Also, so you make the update and everyone will make the update for their Unity? Is that the way to go? What do you think? Yeah, so he made a build for testing. We should test that first, right? Wait, but then after we test it, we just have to merge his updated version. That's it. No, I'm just talking about the update of Unity. I forgot how we deal with the update of Unity. That's what needs to happen. Let me see. Because I don't see a PR from him. Okay, I have to go back to the workshop. I'll communicate with you later and understand what's the process with Victor. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Yo, what's up, David, Loris, and Melville? Yoo-hoo. Let's see. Noise here.
Yeah. Maybe the jack is not.
Wait, maybe I need to crank up the volume
You
here.
want me to try something else?
Wait.
Like directly the stereo cable to. If you want, we can try this.
No, it's because of the cable.
Yes, maybe we can avoid this. Look, I try?
Try. Oh, that's... I think that's still gonna be an issue, but let's try. Oh.
Can you?
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah.
Because maybe this is not... This is shit.
Okay, great. Okay.
You have only like one side, but...
That's fine. Let me just add another thing here. Browser, window capture. Display capture. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna sit. Where am I gonna sit? Is this okay? All right, let's try it. So, who in here tried Patchworld already? Somebody tried?
Just someone.
Okay.
Music people and science.
Okay,
people.
yeah, I want to
The music
understand a
people,
little
they
bit.
tried it.
So I won't remember. It'll take me some days to remember names and things, but maybe I'll ask a few questions before we start. So who in here has music experience? Cool. Who in here plays instruments? Who in here makes music on the computer? Okay. Who in here doesn't have music experience? Okay. Who in here has programming experience? Who in here has like max pure data, like patching experience? Okay. Modular synth experience. Okay. Cool. So we have heavy music on music and computer music, but not so much development. Anybody knows what is a logic gate? Okay, cool. Anybody here made a 3D model? Okay, cool. Okay. Do you want to start that I show you stuff, or maybe we do a quick round first? Do we have time to make a quick round and you guys tell me each one, yeah, your name and maybe why did you want to join here today? What is your interest? What is your background? What are you studying? Shortly. So name, what are you studying, an interest, and why did you want to join the workshop?
So my name is Florian. I play guitar and a bit of piano, and I've always had an interest in informatics.
Informatics?
Computer science and everything. I started music when I was very young, and I continued ever since by myself, essentially. And I've developed over the years experience in a bit of patching, experimenting with software and sounds, this kind of stuff. I've experimented with trackers as well.
Cool.
That's not so much. So yeah, quite a lot of interest in technology and music and both of it at the same time as well.
By the way, another question, who in here has VR experience? Who in here has a Quest? You? Thank you.
She stole it from.
And I stole it from.
It's a circle of vicious. Okay. Yes.
Hello, I'm Carol, and I play cello, and I have a little experience in computer science and programming, everything, but I have not
You have experience with synthesizers?
Not really.
Okay. Mostly acoustic.
Mathematics, but it's
You have a mathematic background.
yeah.
Yes,
Who here has math background? Nice. Okay, interesting. Cool. And why did you want to participate? What do you hope to achieve?
I have no idea precisely, but I will discover it. I'm Mama. I play piano and I sing also. I don't have an experience, just a little information with the formation, but I think I'm here most for discovery and maybe for the application of music computers.
So you don't have experience with computer music?
No, not just a little.
Like production software or workstation? Okay. Sorry, why did you, you wanted to explore?
My name is Joyce, and I like art, so I play the trumpet and the bass. I love sport and the stage, the mountain stage, and all of that kind of musical station. So in VR, I don't have idea to what we are going today, but I want to explore the world and the virtual.
You have a trumpet here? I love it. Why not? It would work well if it fits.
Hello, my name is Maxime. I'm a guitar player and a score writer. I use MuseScore for that. I'm a composer since 3 years, and I've got a bit experience in VR for school application. And I try to discover new things in this workshop.
What did you do with VR for school?
I try patchwork.
You work with him?
Yes.
Yeah, those four, they tried a little.
Nice.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
That's it. I think.
Hello, my name is François. I play guitar, the keyboard. I like concert, record, jam session. But with computer, I use Reaper for recording myself. But making music on little difficult. I more
That's easy.
easy for me with an instrument.
So why were you interested to try with VR?
While we discover in the class with Jonathan.
My name is Walter. I play the guitar, the drums, and the bass. I like to compose on my computer as well, and to mix and record myself. I also like sound engineering.
tonight I play violin, drums, and now balalaika.
Balalaika?
Yeah.
It's a string instrument?
Yeah, string instrument, and it's I don't know this
Yeah.
shape.
The triangle?
Yeah.
Is it Turkish? No,
it's Russian.
Russian.
Yeah. Like after I like live performances and do music on my computer, mixing, beatboxing, and.
Are you guys gonna bring your instruments for the week?
Yeah.
Bring all your instruments, please.
Okay.
Okay?
What's your question?
If bring our instruments.
Okay.
Bring all the instruments.
It's a little bit again to bring electric guitar maybe
We have a lot of.
We have space.
I just told them you have a lot of space. I just told them that don't bring all your room. Just that they can, and we have
Bring
nine.
more special instruments.
Yeah.
Few special things.
Bring containers.
And while I'm here, to learn more about Flashboard and explore how it works and how light shows work. I'm Ocean, so I'm a saxophonist, and I sang in choir for some time.
What saxophone?
Alto. I haven't been working years about sound engineering and mixing. It's how to say mixing, and more and more with the studies I'm doing, I'm inclined to more and more working on computer science. So with Jonathan, like we are working on this project that we want to use.
Actually, you have a band.
Yeah.
In batch? You have a batch band?
Woo! And with all the discovery that we knew about VR and stuff, I'm more inclined to work with computer science, and I would love to be able to understand and resolve my problem, because the study that the study that I took for next year necessity of installation. It could give me ideas of how I could do it in real business.
For an installation, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, it would be like gold if I have like more information, if I could solve my problem actually with VR or whatever.
So what is the problem that for you need to plan an installation?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
I'm Martin, so I play the piano. I have studied computer science, and I'm really interested and curious on how movements with the VR interface can make sounds, and how does that look?
Awesome.
Florian. My background is computer sciences, mathematics, cognitive sciences, and like everything that's related to perception. So VR to me is interesting on visual and auditory perception. Even though I'm not really sure there's a long future to VR, but yeah, it's still interesting.
Awesome. Thank you guys. That sounds like really interesting minds and like cool combination of like math, music, computers. Super cool. I think we're gonna have an awesome time. So thank you guys so much for presenting a little bit. I don't know where to start with you guys. I'm so excited. I have so many things to show you. Let's see. So I realized there are the people here there are a few of you that are mostly in the instrumentalist side. Okay, so I'll just explain. Okay, let's do this. I'll explain basics, concept very broadly, then I'll show some examples, and then I'll dive a bit more deeper. So,
Can you maybe put your OBS window
Yes.
in the background?
Yes.
To see it?
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so for tomorrow, I think everyone should go to the normal onboarding of Patchworld, at least once, to try and get familiar also with VR. even if you have a chance today, might be good if you never did VR. Who here never had VR, never tried VR before? Somebody? You all tried it before? Yeah. Okay. You all tried Patchworld also?
No,
Okay.
we keep it like.
Okay. Okay. Maybe today we have time for those that didn't try it. That would be great. Patchworld has two parts. It's actually two products in one. Wait a second. I need to activate beta mode. So, Patchworld is a content platform where you have different worlds that you can go into that are this content that you can just explore, go in, make music, experience something. And there is the underground level, which is just an empty canvas where you can create whatever you want. And I'll just start from the empty canvas and show you the ground floor first, and then we go one floor up at a time. The ground floor is, so when you open a new project or any world you go into, you can actually edit it. And you can save, you can edit, and you can build. So the way you build is you have here a library where you can spawn things into this empty canvas. The lowest level of things that you can spawn are blocks. Can you see the screen okay? Is everything? Okay, cool. So the blocks are the low-level components. These are like your, in Max would be the objects. So for example, I'll take here an oscillator. This is an oscillator. And I'll take a speaker, and I'll connect the oscillator to the speaker. And you can see it vibrating. You can hear the sound. Maybe I'll make it a little bit louder. Ouch. So this is how you construct things. Okay, that's one category. Another category is visuals. You have here different skies that you can put. You can delete the sky and I'll put something else. Some colors. You have mountains. You can have all sorts of 3D models here, like this rubber duck, for example. And if you're a modeler, you can import your own 3D meshes. So you have blocks that are logic, make sound, can be connected together in various ways. You have visuals and you have samples. It's too quiet still. It's on my right. So all the audio, excuse me, all the audio can be spatialized, and it's by default it is spatialized. So if I'm like here, I'm gonna hear it from my left, and from here, oh, it's too loud now. I'll take it down a bit. So you have samples that are provided. Each sample comes inside a bubble. You can also upload your own samples, and you can also record your own samples. No, I think it's too quiet now. We should solve this for tomorrow. This okay. Then you have devices. Yeah, blocks, visuals. By the way, visuals, you can also import images. You can also take pictures. You can also put in videos, and so on. Now, devices are a combination of all the blocks, visuals, and sound. For example, this bass drum is just a virtual machine. Maybe let me change the. You know what? I think there's a trick here. If I take it half out.
Yes.
Right? No.
bring a cable.
Yeah. Est-ce qu'il y avait un mixeur
That's weird because I can't
Oh,
see
it's
it.
a Mac. We can like just use. Can I try something?
Try. No, but the sound is coming from here.
Yes, but no, from the speakers too. From here you have it in stereo, but we have it on the speaker.
Sure.
On just one speaker, but I can just do it like this. Look, tell me if it is a good idea or
The
not.
sound is coming from the headset.
But
on
also
the
from
cable.
the skip.
On the cable to the sound card.
Ah, yes. Sorry. Okay.
But
You okay? You're right. Yes, but it is the input. It's plugged. I don't think it's.
It's a good proof of concept that binaural works to get the idea.
I can actually connect this to another speaker here. And I
The
can-
mono speaker, no?
Because sound. Because I think you think it is direct input output, but because the sound card is plugged on your computer, right? Yeah. So I think if we go to sound, maybe I don't know. I'm not sure, but you can have like mono output. Ah. Look, because you have no. Okay. No. Well.
Okay, let's try like this.
Okay.
For now, we will.
I won't do too much sound stuff.
Where's your... C'est quoi la... Attends, c'est quoi la fenêtre pour avoir le...
Can you see this?
Sorry, I just want to... Where's your window for... Yes. This for your...
I got it.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, can you see this one? Okay, so a device is basically like a group in Photoshop. I can open it, and now I see how it's built inside. So these are all the blocks that make up this snare sound. And you see it was quite a simple one. I can show you. We have here, for example, a few synthesizers. We have here a 303 replica here. So change the length. And all of the pieces that you see here, they're all blocks. And I can open it, and you can see how it's built inside. And it's almost crashing my headset because it's so much. There's so many blocks here. On the PC, if you use PC, let me close this one. It's a bit too heavy. This was built by one of our super users called Tiger Master, and he is using a PC, which gives a gaming PC, which gives him more power. Let me show you a little bit of a playful kind of jamble style instrument. So I have here a loop button. Sorry for the audio dropping because it's now I'll open this just to show you inside. This is how it's built
But
inside.
that's a good question. And if I don't want to have like specialization in my work, is it possible to have?
It's possible, yes. You can. So I will go into this more when we go into synthesis. I'm just going to do briefly now. So let me make maybe a saw wave. So this is the speaker element, this is your output, and you can set it if you want it fully spatial or non-spatial at all, or anything in between. So if now it's on 0, it's going to be non-spatialized and it's completely mono in the center. This dial can be maximum left or maximum right. Sorry. Okay.
I think there's a little bug in this one. There's no decimal. No, you can't do on the. No, is that right?
Huh?
You
What?
cannot put it loud or not loud. What you
This
just try
one?
to. The right one, yeah.
What do you mean the right one? This?
Just the thing you did before, very loud.
Yeah.
This, I want to put 0, 1. You can't. 0.1.
0.1. Let's see. That's not loudness though. It's panning. There might be a bug there. You're right. Let me try and connect another thing to it. No, you're right. You're right. There is a bug here. It should be letting you do panning, not just maximum or like mono. There are other ways you can go around it, of course, but you're right. That's a bug. So I just wanted to show you the components of what we have in the library: blocks, visuals, sounds, and compilations of those devices. You can also make your own. You can create whatever arrangement you want, and that's what we're going to do, hopefully, part of it, and then turn it into a group and turn it into a device that you choose exactly what you want to hide or show. Let me show you a few other quick examples of.
So it's cool.
So there's a few parameters here, and all the parameters, let me just take a peek inside. You see, it's actually not that complicated, this one. It has 2 oscillators, so you can have 2 voices. You can edit the scale here. I can have it either chromatic or whatever scale I want. And I did that if you use the trigger button, it gives you a vibrato. And we have here some modulation. You can also change the glide. So if I hit mark string, change the octave. And all of these parameters, these dials, this text, this output, this, everything here is all handmade inside of VR with these connections. I'm going to teach you how to do a little bit of that. So, of course, you can open them, edit them, change them, see how they work, and so on. I wanted to show you the basic construction kit. The last thing I'll show you, in short now. Oh, something is buggy here. I have to report this bug.
May I show just a second to say
Any questions? Yes.
What you showed, you know, you have this. Have you seen that famous Max Matthews video where he Daisy Daisy with that same formant vocal? Comment ça s'appelle là? Synthèse fourth synthesis.
Huh?
And he was actually in Marseille. This guy.
Oh yeah.
Max Matthews.
Is it, you mean the first ever computer music?
Yeah, that's
kind of.
The guy.
Back in the 70s or.
Isn't it older? Like, what's the song? Daisy?
No.
He made a computer sing in the 70s.
Right.
Daisy for Juge, I think it's the traditional American song.
Okay.
That's it. I'm done.
I wanted to show you, like the devices that we have can range from these replicas and like really like electronic music virtual gear to something that's like any 3D model can actually be contain a sample inside quite easily. So this one is quantized egg shaker. And why I wanted to spawn these to show you, let me take a few more of these. And sausage is my favorite. Besides all the infinite amount of things that you can do, you can connect this to the environment. There's all the visual stuff that I will show you a little bit as well soon. A big component here is that you can record yourself. So let's see how things sound. So I'm gonna record myself here. So you can record yourself loop, playing, interacting with things. It can be loops, it can be long recordings, and it can even be storytelling or singing. So you can create a one-man band. You have click, and you can skip from any point of your recording, and you can change the tempo. So you see. Okay, cool. So I will show you the basic pieces. You have blocks, visuals, samples, devices, and ghosts, which is what we call the recording of avatar. You record a ghost of yourself. Inside the block, there's like worlds and worlds that I will get into, but I wanted to show you now that you know the basic principles. I want to show you what kind of things you can make with it. Now, those that tried Patch World already, I will let you know that the whole onboarding, all the content we have is built just like what I showed you. It's built with blocks and all these elements. But I want to show you a few finished things. Like, for example, I would highly recommend to try this. It's a collaboration with a drum and bass producer and rapper. A rapper called Harry Shota, is a UK drum and bass rapper. We took some of his acapellas, we took some samples from his producer and put it all together into a jambo-like fun little experience. So you have a bass instrument here. And you see it like changing makes a huge like shape. It's super big. Let me just jam a little bit. What's not working? I think there's some reverse phasing with there's no mono, I think. Definitely. Can't enjoy this properly, you're gonna have to try it on your own, but just to show you quickly, I can open this, and it's a pretty messy patch here, but everything here is built inside of Patch World, and all the avatars were recorded, and all these light effects and everything. So maybe I will skip the part of showing you like finished worlds. Maybe I'll just go into like one or two quick ones. This is just all the available devices and instruments that are in Patch World. It's just an arrangement of all of them together, so we can listen to a beat that was made just with what is available. Let's see. Okay, it's hard to hear everything
it doesn't make you slow down, no? It's okay for the tracking.
For me, it's fine. No, no, it works good. It's just a shame you don't hear the sound, but tomorrow we will solve it. The sound quality is outrageously nice, actually. Even though it's an Android device, there's something about the system, like also, you know, being like working on Jambo and working with a lot of audio workstations, you get a feeling like every kind of music tool has its own, the digital music tool has its own sound. I find after trying a lot of things, Patchwork, the audio engine sounds great. Maybe partly because you have full control over everything, so the mix that you're creating can be really, really great. Any questions so far? Yes.
Is the program compatible with, for instance, SEO to import sounds in like a live setting, for instance?
Import sounds in live settings? Can you explain again?
And maybe I was thinking of a patch to track pitch.
Yeah, I'll show you right now. Do you guys want to get into blocks a little bit? I'll show you different categories of blocks, and one of them I will show this because I think there's a lot of instrumental listed here. So that would be a good, and maybe I'll do some quick patching to build a few things to get your imagination going. So, okay, so we concluded the first part. I explained to you this. I want to go one step deeper. You good? You want to go deeper?
Yeah.
Say yeah!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, before I show you the blocks themselves, I'll explain a few of the basics. There's 3 connection types in patch. There are jolts, which look like this, that have this thin wire. And there are streams, which have this thick one. And there are a third type, which are this connection. It's kind of, wait, let me show you. Here. Is this, wait.
Maybe for Max and PD users, we can say the first one on the top is signal, and then the other one is control, no?
Yes. But I'll go a bit deeper if you don't mind. So, okay, actually let me put this on top. Okay. Can you see okay with this background? I can actually change the background color. There's a device for that. Maybe this is easier to see.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me get here another block that's just a readout. Okay, here we go. I'm using this button. I will teach you more later. It will be hard to remember how everything works, but this is what we call a radial menu. It's like a right click. It has like copy, delete, cut, copy, paste, different functions, or just. So this button is the pad for interacting and patching. You can drag. So this is a jolt. It has inputs. This is just a pass. It passes a signal. It has input and output. I'll connect the output to a readout so we can see the number. Okay, right now there's nothing going through it. I will need to connect to it something that will send a number. So I connect a little button here. You know, let's even take another button. Here's a button. What does a button do? It sends a number from this output. So what number does it send? It sends the 0. If I click it, it will make it a bit shorter so you can see. If I click it, it will send a 0. Nothing happens here because it's already a 0. If I change this to a 1, tuck, and I click it, tuck, it's going to send a 1. So jolts, just like they sound, they give you a single event for a number that passes through, and it passes just a number over a wire. Okay, if I change it to 3 and hit, it's gonna be 3. That's it. There are other blocks like metronome, for example. What does a metronome do? It sends things, sends 1, 1, 1, 1. You can see when it's sending, and it becomes like this. You can say like, I wanted to send 70 times per second. If when it's on 1, it sends 1 time per second. So this is an example of a block that has a certain function. It just sends 1 number. I could connect to it another block that is a counter, cycle counter. Okay? And I'll tell, oh, we get a crash.
Could it be the dim light, maybe?
No. This is a new version that we're still testing, so we're fixing it.
Is there a kind of a recovery when you crash? Or
If you save your patch, you do have an autosave by default.
Okay.
But right now we have the problem that the autosave is causing a crash.
Yeah.
So it's better to just hit save a lot. I'm starting with the bit boring stuff. It's gonna get very fun very quickly. Let me do, okay, let's bring out the readout. I wanted to explain the connection types.
Readout, I would think of it as a print in Microsoft data. You see what's going on.
Exactly. Let's take a dial, a knob, connect it here. It's using a jolt output. I'll connect it to the readout. Every time I change the value, it's going to send a new number. Okay? Now, the difference between this and the string connection, let me take another readout. Seemingly it's similar. So the main difference is visually is that string connections usually have on them already like a dial. And if I change here, also it changes here instantly. The difference is, if you look at it closely, when I change here, you see it moved over there? You can think about it, instead of like sending like a jolt, sending a number, it's actually a physical thing. So when I move this, this moves as well. It's kind of a metaphor for saying that this is continuous. So any number that is getting in here, it's coming out here. And that's the reason, for those of you that know a little bit about audio, is that audio has a very high frame rate. It's 44, the sample rate for audio is 44.1 thousand, right, Doctor?
They know that better than you.
Okay, sample rate for audio is 44.1 thousand, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot of missed numbers to pass through all the time. So that's why we have, this is more for audio, that's why it kind of looks like a jack. And this is just for data, kind of like the MIDI, but it's much more low level than MIDI, it's just numbers, that's it. Actually, both of them are numbers. The difference is exactly, this goes in audio frame rate, and this has like a maximum frame rate, which is much smaller. So when you deal with audio, like the oscillator, you got stream inputs, stream outputs, and stream inputs. Okay, now here's where it's gonna get cool. You know how sound works, I assume. It moves the air pressure back and forth on your ears. And on the speaker that we saw before, it actually moves the diaphragm back and forth of the speaker. And how does it move it? It moves it between -1 to +1. And here I can change the frequency of the oscillator. Let me make it 0.1. So you see, it goes from -1 to +1. I can connect another one to the speaker. And suddenly you see, hey, wait, this is a LFO now, right? Now, okay, so you got that this is an audio frame rate, this is single momentary events, keeps going all the time. Now, the third connection type is, just a second. We don't have really a good name for it yet, but we call it it's like a selector of properties. So let's say I have here, scale. So this is it's a selector connection. And let me take a little visual here. Okay. Now I can select anything. You know what? I'll select the spoon and I'll select a block, like a knob. Okay? So they are both selected. I can change the X, Y, Z of this mesh. Okay? So why don't I try to use this to modulate the visual of the spoon in this? So how would I do this? I have here 3 jolt inputs. This is received jolt inputs, 1 selector output. I want to have a converter from a stream. This is a very common, important block. It just converts stream audio rate to jolt inputs. It's good if you write this down, but you don't have to. I will remind everybody I'm gonna get it. So I'm just gonna take it here and connect it to all 3.
I think in Max, snapshot will do kind of the same. I'm not sure. Des photos de la valeur toutes les secondes, toutes les 100 millisecondes quand vous voulez.
So you see it's going from -1 to +1. Cool. Now actually, and this is where you start to patch. Now, you know what? This is cool that I can do it, but I don't like that it flips around there because it goes from -1 to +1. Maybe I want a different range, okay? So I want it to just grow and shrink, but not shrink to 0 and then like it's reversing its image. So I can go to a math area here in the blocks, and I can tell it to add. I have an add, and I just say every number that you receive here, just add 1 to it. Okay, that's better, but you see that, so when it's, let me take this readout here. Okay, let's see what happens. So before it gave me -1 to +1, now it's going from 0 to 2. Let me make it +2, and now it's gonna go from 1 to 3. Okay, cool. Now I can change the rate. Okay, that was a quick example. Now let me try. Is it cool? Should I continue with this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to build a quick instrument that combines interaction, motion, visual, and sound. Okay, let's do this. Maybe we like the other background color better. So, let's start from the audio. I have a problem now. If I connect this, it's too slow to hear it. Let's make it. You know what? Let's make it this. Okay. Okay. But I don't want it to play all the time, right? I want it to be activated. So, first of all, I will need to have a way to control the volume. How am I going to do that? With a multiply. Why? When I multiply any number by 0, it's going to be 0. If I multiply it by 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. If I multiply it by 1, that's the normalized volume. So now I have a volume control, but this is not a nice interface to change like this. Why don't I add a slider? So I go to interfaces, and I have a little slider here, and okay, cool. So I have a volume for my synth. But now I actually don't want to be moving it like this. I want envelope. So we don't have a very sophisticated envelope yet. We just have a decay. This we're probably going to make a new block that is a bit easier to use, but the decay. So you know what? I'm going to keep this as my volume, and I'll add another multiplier. And the multiplier is going to be receiving this. Is going to be, I'm going to connect the decay, and the decay is just going to go from 1 to 0 over 100 milliseconds. Okay, nothing happens yet because I need to press this button. Ah, nothing happens yet because I need volume here. Did everyone get that?
No, how the numbers relate to the envelope?
I'll show you.
I don't get it.
Thank you for asking. So I'll put the readout here so I can see what are the numbers. You saw that instantly as I connected it, it went to 0 because it's a string connection. It doesn't need any, this one is on 0, so it's gonna set it to 0. When I hit it, it goes from 1 to 0. This is just, I have here the inputs from 1. I can have it also go from 2, and I can control the speed. So now it's 1 second from 2 to 0.
Okay.
By the way, if you hover like this without touching anything, each block will show you a short explanation of what it does. And also if you hover on the input, it will tell you what is the input does. So that's how long it will take for the output to go halfway towards the target value. Sometimes it's written very clearly, sometimes less, but that's the idea. So now I'm going to connect it. And I can make it shorter. I can make it even shorter than that if it's like, let's do 20 milliseconds. So it's going from 2 to 0 over 20 milliseconds.
So did you notice very quickly he changed between a sine wave and a square wave and a triangle wave? Yeah. You got that.
The oscillator block has a hidden mechanism here. So all the changing of numbers happens with this button. You can scroll it up, you can use the joystick, you can twist it, and here there's a hidden mechanism when you are hovering here, you can just go like change the waveform. And of course, you can use one to modulate the other. Let's make it a bit longer. Okay, we'll get to FM later. Okay, now I have a nice little sound, but I want to control the pitch. So I want to have an interface where I can play. So we have a bunch of interfaces that are pretty like 3D, but I will start with a pad. It's just a hitting. So let's put a readout and see what we got here. We have 3 outputs. 1, 2, You saw what I did? I copied, duplicated, and now it's in my rack. It's like in the clipboard, and I can just paste it. Really easy one. No, okay, that's a really easy one. So what you have here is y, x, and velocity. So if you look at the top one, you're gonna see it goes from 0 all the way on the right, and 1 is all the way on the left. You see it? Yeah? Let me turn it around. First. So from 0 to 1. This is from up to down, 0 to 1. And this is the velocity. It's actually the speed per second. Like something like this. It can go, it's not like 0 to, it's not MIDI. It's actually the speed limit. Like if you would drive a car through this, it would be like 100. Okay, so I get here the velocity. So let's first of all connect the velocity to the button here. If I connect it directly to the button, it will not use the velocity. It will just receive whatever number it is and will just trigger this. So it triggers 1, 2, 0. But I have here another input. If I hover, it says set state, sets the value from which the decay will begin, and it triggers the decay and go. Okay, so it triggers and sets the number to start from. So, but we saw that when I hit this, it can reach like 20. So it's gonna multiply this by 20 if I hit it really high. It's gonna be painful. So let's change the range a bit. We can just have a multiply, but we're using here jolt, right? Because this is momentary. It just sends one event, one number. It's not continuous like the strings. So instead of this really high value, I'm gonna just connect it to a jolt multiplier that is the same as this, it's just for jolts. And I'm gonna multiply it by 0.1. Now let's see what values do I get from here. I don't know where's my readout here. That's much better.
Can you maybe, like in Max, change property of your object to avoid calculation?
To avoid what?
If I want to avoid all this calculation to adapt the range of my sensor, can I just edit like property of my pad and change the maximum velocity and blah blah blah, and to be sure to have like a range that good for me?
The only ones that you can edit the range, not everything, not in every block. So here you can't, but for example, for example, all the sliders and all the knobs, a lot of the interfaces you can actually, here you have default, but you can set the minimum, maximum, and also midpoint. So you can create whatever range you want out of this. I just also if you don't know, if you know this, I recommend playing around a bit with using just the blocks, because it just develops your intuition for like you can like create just with some math whatever range you want. We also have another block that's super useful and important, which is just mapping. You can give it, it's only a stream for streams, but you can give it any, like, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use this for the animation part of the instrument in a bit. But let me continue first, okay? So I have, it's a nice dynamic instrument already, but I don't have pitch.
Yeah, let me know if I talk too much, but try to do this not in VR. You know, very piano and very forte. Here you have a real big range. That's incredible, I find.
Yeah.
You can do very, With cameras or with whatever other controller, that would be a nightmare. But here is here for you.
Okay, so you saw the rhythm is, you can get quite nice rhythm with it. Okay, so we got the velocity. Now I want to have pitch. So I want to modulate this. How would I do it? I could just say, I know that the range from here is 0 to 1. I could just say, take 0 to 1 and make it, let's say, 50 to 300, 400, let's say, I don't know, let's see. And just take that, let's see. Computer music. But we also have things to make things a bit more quantized, scaled, what I call MIDI to frequency. So this can take MIDI numbers and convert them to frequency. It's just a converter. Now let's try it. It's gonna be better, but it's still gonna be on the chromatic scale. So we got 0 to 1. Now let's do, if it's MIDI numbers, let's do 10 to 100 and 100. I can do this really big, maybe that I really control. Let's see. Is it chromatic?
It's not quantized, is it? You can mind
You
it.
know what? Why it's not quantized? Let's see. Let's see.
Because it's not MIDI.
No, it is MIDI number, but it's got floats here.
Integers.
Okay, yeah.
I need integers. What will I do? What will I do? Wait, let's actually check it, just the map. Yeah, I need integers, you guys. We got absolute.
Okay, it's nothing like in bytes or you have integral systems.
Floor.
Yeah.
Floor, rounds input float numbers down to the nearest integer. Boom. Okay, that's chromatic as fuck, right? Very cool. But that's not enough for me. I want it on a scale. I don't know anything about. I don't want to guess where the thing is. I'm gonna get a keyboard block. Where is it? Here, keyboard. Now it's a misleading name because you think it's a keyboard, but it's actually also a keyboard. There's a little switch here. If it's on, the switch is on, then I can play notes. Okay, why is it not connect? I connected it here. Why does it not play? Anyone?
Information that is being sending.
The information is sent. It's changing
For,
here.
like, for the frequency that we have to use.
You
Sorry?
need a velocity maybe.
Velocity, right. It's not triggering here. I forgot to connect here. So I'm sending here number to change the pitch, and then I'm sending the number to trigger the decay. Cool. Okay, but I don't want to use it as a keyboard. I want to use it as a scaler. So this will now receive numbers from here, and it will shift them to be on whatever scale I set up here in this little mini keyboard. But it's sending still, this one is sending 0 to 1. This is too big for me. How do I shrink it? Where is the shrinker? Huh? Oh, there it is. Okay. Weird.
You're so good.
Okay, I'll get another pad. It's bugs. Here. Okay, I'll just connect this here. Put this Sorry for cursing, but okay. So this goes 0 to 1. This needs integers. Let me just take a multiplier and I'll just multiply it by 100. Why not? Then I'll put it here. Now it's gonna give me 0 to 100. Let's see how it's on. Maybe it's a bit, no, let's see what numbers I'm getting here. So you see the workflow is like, oh, something's wrong. Let's see what is the reality. Maybe
your envelope is too short.
Maybe I'm too much. Oh, there you go. There you go. Now I have a nice pitch. Velocity. Notice that everything is mono because there's only one oscillator, one pitcher. If we want voicing, we need to create a few multiples of that. Okay, let me connect now one more thing. I have here another axis that I want to use. I could use it to a filter, I could use it, but maybe I want to use it for the decay of the sound. So, this was the decay input. I can just connect it and see, because I know it goes from 0 to 1, so the maximum will be 1 second. Cool.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Maybe they should have this question, but it looks like your oscillator object is naturally polyphonic. Because when your envelope is still going on, and you send a new trigger,
No, listen again. Listen again.
Okay, yes. Okay. Sorry.
So what happens when I send the second note? Exactly what you expect.
Oh, yeah.
It re-triggers the envelope and changes the pitch.
Okay, just simple.
Now, there is another block that is extremely important and useful, which is called integrator. It can slow down the rate of change of numbers.
Okay.
So you have here a rise control and a fall control. If I put the rise control to 1, let's put them both to 1 second, okay? It's time-based thing. I'm gonna connect it here. So when it's on 1, it's 1 second. If I change from 0 to 1, it means that the numbers go up. The rise control is 1 second. You know what? Let me do this 2 seconds. So rise is in 1 second, fall is 2 seconds. So when it goes up in value, it's gonna take it 1 second to reach that number.
Ça ressemble à line tilde.
And when I take it from 1 to 0, it's gonna take it 2 seconds. 1, 2. Seems like a bit more, but what this is good for is to smooth out values. So for example, if I want to have like a portamento here on the change of the pitch, you just add this in. So instead of having a sharp change in pitch, let's do the switcher. Okay, more questions? Is everyone following? Does anyone need to focus on something else that was not clear? Okay, so I'll just try to conclude this quickly so I can show you more stuff. And I wanted to connect it to the visuals. So let me I have here by the way, you can just change the scale. This is a new feature. You can just use the joystick to just make something bigger or smaller. This is pretty fun. But I wanted to modulate the size of something based on the plane. Okay, so let's use a rubber ducky, which is my favorite. So I connect this to the duck. This is setting the scale. And I have here stream to event that I can just set the size of this thing. So let's remove some things, clean it up a bit. And now, what do I want to do? This thing. Remember what I said before. The most important thing is to know what you want to do. Okay? Anybody has an idea how, what should we do to this duck with the sound? I want to make a movement, audio, and visual instrument. Anybody has an idea?
If it goes high register, it needs to fly up, no?
It should go up when
Come on, guys.
Somebody. Yeah?
To jump when there's another playing.
Jump.
Yeah.
In size?
Yeah.
Or okay, yeah, let's do the movement. There are a few blocks, like 2 blocks for that. I'm gonna use a simpler one. It's called rail. Okay? What does the rail do? I'll connect the selector to the duck, and now it's kind of part of this rail. I can give the rail a length. Let's do 20 centimeters. And then this one, it creates a rail that goes from 0 to 1. That changes the position. Now what else do we have here from 0 to 1? This motherfucker, the decay goes from 0 to 1. Actually it goes as far as I hit it, right? Because we said that it would change the starting point. Let's check it with with this, yeah. So I connected this to the decay. Cool, okay. Let's use this and put it not here, but here. Oops. Because it goes over a 1, you see, it's gonna get stuck. Maybe we just connect it here instead. Just change the rail length.
You can add a roof.
Sorry, what?
You can add a roof on the top of the duck. and say, hey!
We can. It's a good idea. Let's do it. We can have here
craziness.
device box. This is just a box. I'll change it to be glass box, and now I put it inside. Okay. Let's change the color a bit. Poor duck. Let's change it to be like this. Okay, cool. What about the pitch? Should the pitch do something? Okay, cool idea. So I already have here this, and I'm getting here. Let's see what is the value that I'm getting here. So with this, when it's on 1, ooh, that's the original size. We want it to fit inside the box, and so let's see. Let's just connect it. Let's see what happens. If I connect it here. Ooh. Maybe I'll connect it directly to the pitch, this one. Here. Oh. Okay, but it doesn't make sense that when it's high, it's big, right? It should be small. So let's reverse it. That's a good chance to use the map. Okay? I'll connect the map here. Woo! This is big now! Oh my god! Shit! Okay, let's just see how it. Wait, I have to save this thing. Box. Okay. Okay, before I crash. There's a fog setting here that I can just say, oh! go back inside, make it a bit smaller. Oof, I'm going into the belly of the duck here. Jesus. Maybe I can undo? No, okay. I got this. So, where is the thing here? Okay, oof. Alright. So, because I had it, it was almost at 100 its own size. Let's do something else. So I know that this is 0 to 1. I have here 0, 1. So when it's 0, let's put it at, 0 is low notes. So when it's low, it should be bigger. Let's put it at, when it's 0, it should reach, let's say, half of the normal size. This is normal size, let's say half. And when it's on maximum, let's put it really small. So maybe like this, let's see, 0.01. And now let's connect this here. No? Okay, last thing, I want to make it a bit smoother movement. So I have another integrator, and it's not smooth enough. I'll make it 100 millisecond. Okay, now here's a cool thing for you guys. Let's say we're satisfied with this for now.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna make it into a device, and I'm gonna keep only what I want to see.
Là, on est en train de faire une abstraction ou un sub-patch dans...
Exactly, sub-patch. Okay, so the pad has another property actually, that if I use the radial menu, this one, on the pad, I have an inspector that it has more options here. One of the options is collide when hidden. And I can hide it. It's not hidden, you can still see it, but when I hide stuff, it turns them into this, gives them this gray shader. It's a bit hard to see right now still because this whole tool is still in beta. We're trying to improve the visualization, but I'm just gonna select everything and hide what I don't want to see. Now, if okay, let me clean up a little bit. Oops. Okay. Let me clean up a little bit. I got the sound source. I got the actuator, the envelope. I got the animation. I got the pad. I got the scaling. Okay. And I got this also as a volume. Let me put the volume here, okay? And I made the pad interactable while hidden.